I want to welcome you all to the grand opening of the RSG new Ram Barn, and boy, what a sight it is. I mean, just a fantastic facility, and if you come in and you look at it, it's a state-of-the-art. And I tell you, the fun thing that has been for me today, I get to sit here with Tad Thompson, the owner and operator of that, and just an elite set of group of people that's here today with the Rams that they have to represent and the buck goats that we have to represent. Tad, we're glad to be here today, and I'm going to let you make a few introductions.
Thank you, Dan. I greatly appreciate you guys being here and helping us on this project today. The grand opening is kind of a dream come true for me personally, and has been probably at least 3 full years in the making, getting to this point. And I guess it wouldn't be possible, if it wasn't for Amanda, my wife, keeping all my chaos in control. But when you get past that, the staff on RSG's team here is second to none. They are the hardest working family that I've had here to be blessed with as our crew, and they step up to every challenge. And I think that's kind of the neatest thing. It's sure as a testament to our industry and what we create with livestock families, livestock kids, in the livestock industry. And it doesn't matter whether it's sheep, goats, hogs, cattle. We create a unique skill set in young people through challenges and adversity, and we are so fortunate to have this great group of people. And so it was neat people coming through and liking the barn today and telling me it looked great. And to be honest with you, it's the staff that's made this all happen. So I just really wanted to give a shout out to everybody on our RSG team for that accomplishment.
And that is one of the things that we're fortunate enough. Our family lives here within about 10 miles of you, and we've got to do a lot of business over the years. And if you have never been out to this facility, you guys need to come by here. A great set of people, and they're here to help you, and just so welcoming when they come in. And we'll talk about some of that as we go through. We're going to bring that first sire in, and this one comes from 2R Farms. This guy's a registered ABGA full blood. It's AWS1 Hollywood Nights. This one's sired by 2M Boar Goats Night Edition, and dammed by the 2M Boar Goats Riverboat Bling. This one was grand overall at the 2023 North American International Livestock Exposition, and man, what a sight he is. I'm going to let Tad kind of pitch in here a little bit and tell us a little bit about him.
Yeah, I think this guy is a sight to be seen. And, the dapple color, it started off as kind of a trend and then it's turned into a thing. I mean, these guys are impressively stout. They have all the features that you're looking for. This guy himself is on his way to being ennobled in the show ring. I think this is one that at the price point of $200 a unit, you sure don't want to miss looking at this guy if you're into the full bloods.
Man, if you're looking for one to breed to, this one's really stout-boned. He's big-bodied, and just look how he balances up down his top and through his front end. That guy is extremely long-fronted. You can talk about a lot of the things that you look at livestock and you look at the goods and the functionality of them. You just want to look at all those parts. That guy, for one of those boar goats, I don't care what color he is, that one's just a good-made, good-structured one that you can get a lot of good out of. You already got semen froze on him, don't you?
Yes, we got him. Yep.
Okay, and he's at $200 a unit.
He is.
And if you have any questions on him, I would give either RSG a call or give 2M a call, or 2R Farms a call. And
you can jump on the website for any of these sires. You can jump on the website, do the online catalog purchase. So he's available.
Well, let me ask you this, Tad. On this, I know my son's got an app to be able to manage his semen on there. Can they get on the app and purchase his semen through the app?
Yeah, so the purchase of the semen goes through the online catalog, and then once the owner confirms the sale, that transfers to your online catalog, and then once it's online app. So the semen has to be in your app in order for you to be able to manage it. So the purchase price or the purchase of the semen actually goes through the website online catalog, and then once it's released to you, it'll come into your personal phone app.
I tell you, that was one of the things when he got that, it was a lot easier to start managing the things and know what we had and the availability of what we had, because when you get into these and you get these synced up and things, you've got to have that semen there, and it's sure a relief to know what you have in the bank and what's available.
Yeah, that's 100% accurate. It's like when you can pull it up on your phone or your desktop and you can look at exactly what you have. You know it's there. You know it's available. It eliminates a lot of stress and anxiety on breed day.
Yep. Well, that's a great guy there. We're going to go ahead and pass him on through. Guys, take the opportunity to get a good goat there and a good sire. Hey, here comes one that is a good representative to bring into the showcase today and kind of what it's all about. This guy is Big City, and one that's got a great deal of history to him. I'm familiar with this guy from as a lamb to today, and he has made a lot of waves. And I remember him when he walked into the ring in Reno, and we had him at the show and sale. That was one magnificent beast when he came in. I mean, he wasn't that one that just was exotic in a lot of ways, but that one was so complete. He was so muscular, and then he put it on a skeleton that just handled himself so well and so good looking. That is just, I think it's one that you can just really hang your hat on. And like I said, he brings a lot to the table to come to this elite building and bring an elite one like that. We're going to talk about a lot of rams today. And it's one of those things. I've looked through the pedigrees of these others, and he has got a lot of influence in this barn. The other thing I want to bring up is we're running this with the click to claim here for RSG also, and this one is discounted today for $125 a dose, and he's normally at $200 a unit on that. I would take advantage of one there that is one of the icons of the industry right now. I'm going to let Tad say a little about him, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, it's kind of neat. You know, Dan, you got to experience him when he sold in the sale, and I actually got to experience him when I thawed the semen to breed his mom. So we got to see the future Big City when we thawed the semen and it went in her, and so that's kind of a neat relationship that we have with a lot of our clients in the industry. We get to see them on breed day, take them to their moms, and then you see it translate into this. And I think, you know, guys, like when you look at this sheep and he stands there and as for his age, he is still in fighting condition. Like he is raw. He's not raw. He's just ready, you know, and he's lean, but he's big muscled. He still has all the parts and pieces, and he still has a lot of leg wool, guys. You know, I think when you start looking at what that does in this industry and given his age, and I know he's not had his legs done every day this last year. So when you look at those kind of things, at $125, that sheep fits in an awful lot of breeding opportunities. So don't sleep on this guy just because he's old. He's getting like me. He gets better with age. So make sure you keep track of that one.
One thing I'm going to say about that, Tad, I'm going to say, you know, when you look at him, and we talk about the functionality and the structure of them, they don't hold up like that unless they are structurally sound and structurally correct. That's a testament to him. I don't know where you and I are going to be on that when we get to that age, Tad, but
I'd like to be that lean and trim.
Yeah. Just the flexibility and the way that guy moves and gets out and goes. I'm just telling you, for a buck that age, that is one good-looking dude, and it does say something about it, the way he's made to be able to be in that kind of condition.
100%, Dan, 100%.
Take advantage of that one, guys. And don't miss out on today's sale on that if you're interested in breeding in Big City. The next buck that we have in the ring is a buck called Boomerang. He's an American Australian white. I forgot to talk about the blood work on that prior buck. Both of these two bucks are NNFF. This one's owned by Edge Livestock and Allland Acres. Is that how you say that? I tell you, these are interesting sheep to me just for the mass and the body and functionality about them. I'm going to let you take off on that because you're a little more familiar with these.
Yeah, sure. One of the things that in this business we've been blessed with is a lot of creative people, and when you start looking at opportunities in our industry and opportunities with small ruminants and opportunities with sheep, this is an opportunity that we need to talk about and make people aware of. And so the Australian white brings a lot of unique characteristics, and most importantly, what they bring to the table is a unique meat quality. And so they're much higher in omega-3 fatty acids than much of the other breeds of sheep that are in the U.S. And so does this guy go in and win a class at the Indiana State Fair? No, that's not what his purpose is. Does this guy serve a lot of functionality? Is there a lot of purpose? and is there a lot of future and potential in this breed? It absolutely is. And so if you're a innovator, if you're a person who looks at entrepreneurial opportunities, the Australian White is going to make an impact in the U.S. sheep market in the very near future, and it's going to come in the realm of solar farm grazing that's going to translate into a meat market. There's some initiatives out there from branded meat products, branded lamb products, and the Australian White and a derivative of that is going to make a huge impact in the U.S. in the next 10 years. And so don't miss this, what we're talking about here. This is one to look at. You may not buy semen on this guy today, but I tell you, you need to get out there. You need to look at that breed and reach out to us about some opportunities that are coming down the pike.
I mean, I've heard some good things about this breed in terms of durability and just in commercial sheep setting. These are sheep that are pretty tough to take take some rough environment camping.
Yeah, 100%. And so we, when we were last down at our location in New Zealand, Doug left that location and ran over to Tatakill in Australia and visited with Graham there about the breed and the direction he's going. And, so he has stabilized this breed of sheep, and now he's moving towards some of the finer details. So now he's taking this breed of sheep and he's improving hoof size and hoof quality and durability and those things. And so this is a guy that, Graham's one of those guys that is just a brilliant, everybody wants to talk about breeders. This guy's a breeder, and he's created a breed that has a lot of future, has a lot of value. And when you talk about that into the, Western Plains type of livestock programs, or you get into Texas and those kind of things, these are the kind of sheep that can change those programs and increase the U.S. Meat quality and change our consumers' minds.
Yeah, sometimes we get hung up in this show ring, and then we forget about some of the functionality and the things that we're in this sheep business for. And I think this one can bring a lot of good things to the table.
So we get in the show ring, and I'm going to get off my soapbox in just a minute, but you get in the show ring and you talk about all these traits. Well, here's the situation. You've got a sheep that his head and neck sets right, his shoulder angle is right, so you're not going to have lambing issues. His head shape's right for not having lambing issues. He's got good circumference of actual bone. It has nothing to do with the wool on his legs. He has a flat bone structure on his back leg. He has a round bone structure on his front leg. Look at his forearm size. Most people don't talk about forearm structure anymore, but forearm structure directly correlates to the muscles going down the back and how big that rack and loin edge is going to be. He's big, wide hip. He has a slope to his hip and rump, which is actually better because that allows the curvature of the animal to move as they function and flex and go. So, there's an awful lot of value in this sheep, this breed, and the future of what these Aussie Whites are going to do.
Yep. That functionality is important. And guys, don't miss out on that one too. We do have that in the click to claim, and they actually have a buy 5 get 1 free on that. So don't hold back if you're interested in that one. Really,
and they make a heck of a set of recips.
Really good recips, and hey, those are hard to get sometimes. Hey, the next sheep we have in the ring is Capone. This is a registered Dorset Advantage. And if you look and study that guy, I think he's just got a little bit of smut on his nose. I've not seen much color on him. But this guy goes back to Modern Marvels, his sire, and he's out of a Why Not Dam, which is a Crinkle Arms Race and a Stardust donor. He's owned by Side Hustle Sheep Company, Gump Livestock, and Kelly Hair Sheep. He bleeds QRFD. Guys, right here's one that's a big-bodied, round-ribbed, round-bodied one, and if you study him, he's good in terms of his midline, really stout bone for a white one, and stands up good on his feet and legs. I like how he comes out of his rear leg structure. Do you got anything to add on this one, Ted?
Yeah, I mean, the picture says 1,000 words there, guys. Like that's. There's just a couple of Dorsets here today, and this is one you got to look at and see that's some value. And Modern Marvels, he was way popular there a couple of years back, and just a really great proven sire.
Well, he keeps showing up in the pedigrees on these white ones. That Modern Marvel is going to be around for a long time in terms of his pedigree. And one thing I do want to say, I've come into the the facility today, and I grabbed one of the catalogs that you have. And this is one thing that I would recommend if you are in the clubland business and you want to study these sheep and you want to kind of take this back as a reference. Need to get this service sire catalog. They've got all this semen listed in the catalog and the pedigrees on the sheep. Just a great resource to grab onto for you guys that are out there looking for semen on the lambs. Guys, if you'll kind of tilt that one, let's give him a rear view on that guy. Really big hip. That one's wide through his base. He's wide through the center portion of his body. Got semen froze on him. He's ready to go. Take a gander at that, and we're going to move on to our next one, and that'll be Centaur from Nichols Livestock. Thank you, guys.
We're going to do a little housekeeping here.
Hey, you guys can bring those bucks a little out this way a little bit.
He kind of in the middle of the pen. And I can use your LC.
Yep. Centaur's our next buck, and he comes from Nichols Showstock, Culp family, and Boyert family. This buck bleeds RRFF. Hey, he comes from Nichols, and he is a unicorn out of an opal donor. We've got a few notes on this one. He goes back to a donor that's an OTL Mudcat 1513. It's one of the main donors that Nichols have at their place. They told me how many eggs they flushed out of that one, and it was a phenomenal amount. It was just lots and lots of the pedigrees go back to him. This one's a 3/4 sib to the Ohio State Fair Grand Champion in 23. Was that 23 that sheep was reserved grand?
Yeah.
Yep. And he's a 3/4 sib to the 8th overall at the American Royal. He's sired by Unicorn, and there's a lot to be said about that one. Guys, this one has got the genetic package, and if you study him, he is one that is very unique through the front 1/3 of his body. He lays his blade great into his shoulder, and as we study him through his chest floor back to his flank, he really is very desirable there as he tucks that up into his front end and gives you that youthful look. Guys, I know a lot of you have been feeding them leathers a little longer, and that's going to be important to keep the chest floor and make sure they tie their neck up high in their shoulder. And then he comes into a great big bone and stands down on a big foot. You got anything to add on him, Tad?
Yeah, I would just like to throw out there, so if you look at the blood work on this guy, he tested FF. He's out of Unicorn, so you've got an FF Unicorn option that's going to play into a lot of those genetic youth animals that you guys are sitting out there with. When you see this guy in person, you look at his bone and his base width. It's all very, very impressive. And like Dan said on that front 1/3 and that neck extension, that's a very, very unique combination. And then I'd go one step farther and I'd tell you the price point on this guy right now. If you're looking for an FF option and you're looking for genetic consistency with that unicorn trait, you better get on this one.
And I can tell you this, we get to work with Nichols a few places all over the country. I'm bringing lambs, and when they bring something to town, they bring something they're pretty proud of, and they've sure got a right to be proud of this one. That one's a good-looking, good one to take the opportunity to breed to. Our next buck that comes to the picture pin is a buck called Clark, and he is from the Hobbs Show Lamb, I want to say consignment. We're not necessarily selling them today, but just one of those things that just keep coming back to me. But the stud pin from Hobbs Show Lambs, this is a unicorn. It's out of one of their main donors called Pockets, and that is a big city home cooking. And guys, that donor goes back to a buck used White Rock and Trunk, and if you guys remember that's that old Franklin breeding. One thing that I can tell you about that Franklin breeding, we had a lamb that our son showed several years ago, and man, that bloodline brought a lot of unique things. Guys, this one blends together really well. If you want one that's really round in his cage, and then we talked about that Nichols buck as he come in here earlier. This one's similar when he lays into his blade and ties his neck up high into his shoulder. One that's good on his feet and legs. This is a youthful buck that, they're just coming out to, but just study the lines of him, studying how he's put together out of his hip, and he comes off that rear hock. That is one that's really good in the functionality of the way he's made.
And if in this situation we talk about white features and white wools, and you look at his pedigree and where that's at, and you look at his head, and that one's going to bring an awful lot to the table. And if you see him in person, like when we were walking through the barn the first night, it was like, holy smokes, that's a good one, Joe. And I think there's just not many holes you're going to find in that one. Look at the underline transitions right. I think that's one that we're going to be talking about for a few years.
I think you'll see some offspring out of him that'll be very unique in what they'll do. And again, when they bring one to town, I talked about Nichols. When they bring one to town, they come and they're proud of him when they come to town. This one is one that they're proud of, and they ought to be proud of him. He stays together when he's on the move and he's loose and going. That's an awfully good male to have the opportunity to breed to. Guys, he is. What do we have on him? His price on him is...
That's the other thing you need to be aware of. So this guy's RRFF. He's priced at $200 a dose. I think that's a bargain all the way around. Just standing here watching him now, I'm starting to sell myself some semen on him, I think. You look at the flexibility of his spine. Some of these sheep get so stout and muscular, and we get a little restricted in that spine. And you watch this sheep move and walk, and it's plenty big hipped and plenty big rumped for an FF, and still has that flexibility. So don't sleep on this one.
The next buck we're bringing to the ring is Cowboy Way. He's a crossbred buck. He's RRNNFD. He is owned by AGP Club Lambs and Genetics, Bagwell Sister Show Stock. This one is a Hillbred sheep. He's out of Chief and out of a donor, Harold 78 Brisby. The one I remember on this is that Harold 78. If you study a lot of these bucks and the way they go back, that Harold 78 will show up a lot, and obviously the Chief is one of those that you got a lot of pedigrees behind. This one, I went back and talked to the owners of this one as we go, and I asked them, I said, is there a few shows that you guys can tell us about? And he pops that out, and it's so long I couldn't write all of them down. But some of the unique ones that I will say is this one sired the grand champion at the Midwest Elite one year. He was sired the grand champion in Washington State Fair and multiple other shows. Just one that is really burly made. That one is, if you need to put some rib shape in their, it puts some shape in their forerib. This is one that'll put some forerib shape in them. Big hip, he's wide from stifle to stifle, stands down on a big circumference of bone. This one will mass them up and give you some more muscularity, some more body shape.
Yeah, I think, guys, the other thing to think about on this one, so we chase a lot of these young sires and those ram lambs that have so much potential, and that's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying, on a sheep like this, we know the pedigree, we know how he breeds, we know what he works on, so you got to be awfully mindful of that as you start looking at that. There's less risk in this one if you do a little bit of homework and you know what he works on and how he goes. So I think there's some really good opportunities in that.
And the other thing that they told me that really stuck in my mind is Charlie and Tanner Hill used this buck the first year. They retained a lot of females out of him. They say he's a really good female-making buck, and if that's something you're after, you need to focus on that also. Guys, we appreciate you bringing him. That is one good specimen for you guys to look into. We're going to bring that first registered off-breed, what I call off-breed or white-faced breed, to the ring now. And we've got a registered Southdown. It's from Birch Livestock and Hobbs Show Lambs. This guy is called Even Better. He's out of Ocean Eyes on both sides, so he's a lined-up Ocean Eyes buck. This one goes back to some pedigree that is very unique. And I get an opportunity to deal with a lot of people throughout the country, and Paglieros and Brassfield on the West Coast, they put together a pretty unique set of Southdowns in terms of putting that muscularity and touch and hide to them. And that's what this guy brings to you. If you study the shape of him and just the curvature that he has, and you get behind him wide from stipple to stipple, and on this side view profile, you can see the curvature down low into above his hock and the muscularity in him. Guys, if you are wanting to get into this south down deal and you want to push him on the weather side of this is one that you need to look at. He ties together, balances up very good from end to end. You got anything to add for him, Tad?
Yeah, I had the good fortune of seeing this guy as a baby when I was out at Colby's earlier this year, and the pieces and parts are there, and they've continued to mature in the way that you would think he would. And so a lot of the things that we fed Southdowns over the years, and then you got to watch them for getting too mature too quick, and how they change and go as they get older. And this is a sheep that's continuing to hold together as he did when he was younger. His front 1/3, his chest floor, shoulder wrangle, neck extension, all those things are holding together as they were when he was younger. So I think this is one that you can be confident in breeding to, and be confident in feeding those lambs into the midsummer and into the fall. So this is it's an awful good Southdown.
Boy, you bring up a point of that youthfulness and that shape and the way they look. That one's athletic in his look, and I think somewhat at times we start losing that athletic look to him. We get him a little too smooth and not that defined muscularity to him. He brings that athletic look and that defined muscularity. I think one that's a really good one for that breed.
Yeah, agree. He reminds me of you when you were in your prime.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, actually he's, so he actually has excellent Southdown breed character. He's crisply black in all points along his nose and his nostril. He's got wool and fuzz all the way down to the tips of his ears. If you actually know what a Southdown head's skull shape is supposed to look like, he has that right width between his eyes and down through his muzzle length. And so that one actually is built and looks excellent breed character, excellent Southdown breed character.
Well, the next one that we're bringing to the ring is Gotham. He's a crossbred. He's from Hild Brothers. He bleeds QRFD. He's out of Batman, and he's dammed by a ewe that's a lawless White Claw bush baby. I don't have a whole lot of notes down on him, but one thing is you do look at him and you study this guy. That is a big hip, level hip. I like how he's pulled up there at his dock. That one's nice in terms of balance of his chest, floor, and flank. Balances up nice down his top. One, if you're wanting into that white breed that he brings to the table, we talked about it earlier on another buck. He's easy down his top, what I call easy down his top. He's relaxed down his top to where he doesn't get that tied up and get too tight up to his top. And as you study that guy when he's moving around here, he's pretty comfortable on the move. What else can you tell us about him, Ted?
Yeah, Charlie called me here yesterday about some other stuff, and so we got talking about this sheep. I'd seen him in the pen and loved him, and so we got chatting about what he's seen in this sheep. And so, I think the other piece for a white sheep, when you start looking at that rib cage, you can already, if you can see it online, you can see that crease down his back. He's round rib, creased up. I think he's still really good in the short in his blade length up front. I think there's an awful lot of good things there. When you look at his skin, his skin, his hide, and the texture. When you put your hands on him, that one's going to breed right. His offspring are going to touch right. So I think there's some things here we really need to kind of pay attention to if you're looking for those traits in your white face breeds.
He brings value to that white program just in terms of muscularity and functionality of the way he's put together. I like a lot of things about him and that white program.
Absolutely.
Our next one that comes in the ring is High Voltage. He comes from Urban Livestock and Elder Club Lambs. He is RRFD. He's sired by Holy Smoke. He's dammed by a White Ninja El Chapo dam. And I think we have a guest speaker here that's going to talk a little about that.
Timmy.
Just met this guy, and I thought his name was Jimmy earlier, but they say he's Timmy Hubbard from Michigan. We're going to let him narrate a little bit on this guy.
I'm just going to say one thing real quick. It's a good thing you have an amazing wife because that kid's awfully cute. If it was just left up to you, I'm not sure how that would work.
Ha! Well, we have quite the crowd around here. Cam asked me to step in and talk a little bit about these sheep and some of the backside of these pedigrees. So this sheep Holy Smokes obviously needs no introduction. He's one of the most popular white bucks in America that's now housed at Hobby Show Lambs. At the same time, that U family on the bottom side has got high sellers and winners on the back side as well. The mother of this sheep was actually the mother of the $22,000 Return Johnny that currently resides in Michigan that Cam just sold at the Cowboy Connection. And so with that being said, I think the sheep not only backed by maternal strength of high sellers, but at the same time his rib, his center body, and his back shape, I think are on an edge for the white sheep. And I think that sheep can be mated, especially in an age where I think we're starting to get more blacks influenced into the whites. The fact that he is predominantly white can go back in on those black or those speckled-faced ewes that have the diluter gene, I think emphasize just the genetic prowess alongside his intangible traits of muscle and shape to make those sheep better.
Well, he's one I like a great deal. One thing I like about him, somewhat times he'll start getting these sheep a little too short. That one's got just a hair extra shot of length to him, and he still balances up and he holds it together. He's not too long, but he's got enough to make him balance up good, and I like that about him. And I think that makes him come into a good front end, too, in the way he ties through his front end. I think he's a unique one for that white program.
I agree completely. And then that white ninja and that buck was extremely high leveled. That's a buck from Ted Griner's on the bottom side that made a lot of winners, especially for the Alan Newcomb program. There's a tremendous amount of maternal value in this buck. For those of you that are looking for a predominantly white breeding piece to breed back to those specs to try to make better white ones, I think this buck's awfully intriguing. Cam brought us a good one. This buck, he sold for a lot of money at the Midwest Fever, and rightfully so, and he's got the maternal backing to make sheep better.
And you could see the rack shape in him from here.
Oh, yeah.
He's got some muscularity to it.
Big back. Big back. Crazy rib.
Thank you, Camden. We appreciate you bringing him. Guys, take the opportunity, study that one there, and use him and get some of those speckleds, get some of those white sheep to work in your program. We're going to bring a couple of goats in here next, and they come from Hobbies out of Iowa now. Hobby, and this buck, the buck we're bringing into the showcase right at this point is Hobby Ruger's Masterpiece M2317. He is a registered ABGA full blood. He is sired by Ruger and out of a dam, asteroid dam. Guys, I know a little bit about the Hobby family. They are a very, very good family, and they are people that want to make this program better, and they bring goats to our sales, and we do sell a lot for them. And they are ones that'll go out and produce for you. This guy's in his working clothes. He's got a little age to him, but if you study him, he ties up nice through his front end. That one's a good-bodied one. He's good on his feet and legs. I'm going to let Tad add a little bit to him, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, I think one of the most enjoyable things I'm getting to watch here is that this buck might be more stubborn than my oldest son that's on the head. So that's a good thing. Gets him a little challenge going there. Dan exactly hit it on the nail on the head. You know, like with for a buck that's got a little age on him, I mean, that one's just awfully held together awfully well. And when you look at that pedigree of Ruger, and if you're looking for black dapples, this is a black dapple son. It's the only son of Ruger that ever came out as a black dapple. So there's some very, very unique genetics there on the full blood side of it. And as you look at the female side of it, that asteroid doe is coming very, very near being ennobled on her side. So, there's just an awful lot of stout quality on the pedigree. And you look at the bone structure and the age of that buck, and he is built right to be that good a order at that age.
And that extra color brings a little value to it. Somewhat, in my mind, I lose sight of that at times. I get hooked on to what they look like body-wise, structure-wise, and that pulls him into me. But that extra color, and we go back to the white feature in some of these bucks and things, I think you got to look for the functionality of them, and then you take the extra bonuses. That one's got the extra splash of that chrome on him, too. A great opportunity here, guys. He is. Do we know anything about? You've got semen froze on him.
Yes, we do. Yep, we do. So get online. There's buying opportunities on this guy. Get online and make your purchase. Thanks, guys.
The next one we bring to the show pen is Hobby T-Bird, and this T-Bird P2468. He is a registered ABGA full blood. He is sired by Grey Goose and dammed by Raz. And this one comes to us by Boars by Hobby again. And he's that traditional color. Guys, study up on this one. Look at the balance and design down his top line, how he ties his neck into his shoulder. Study how high that one pulls his tail up into his hip and how square he comes off of there. That one has got some stifle shape and some width to him. Even look at the structural correctness of that guy.
Yeah, I think the real neat opportunity is seeing that guy loose in the pen over here, like you see him walk around and he's cocky-headed. That head always stays up out of the top of his shoulders. Talk about width through his chest floor. That guy comes down to the ground at a big old wide chest and wide base coming down on there. So this one's got some real potential.
Like I said, you need to take a shot at him when he's walking away from you. That one's wide from stifle to stifle. Look how square and straight he is when he's lying. That will make some weathers for you guys and make you some females that are really good. Study how he's up on his feet. He's good on his feet and legs. A really good one to take the opportunity to
just turn his front end right there towards the camera, guys, and you can see
his
big old chest on him, wide at the ground. Yep. So for that much width and center body all the way back through, he's still awfully good fronted.
We sure appreciate Hobbies bringing him for the showcase today. The next buck we bring to the ring is a buck called House Money. This is a blue buck, and you start to look at him. This is a big bone, stout bone blue one. He comes from Edge Livestock. He's sired by Jordan, which is a true son, and then goes back to Hell on Wheels for the dam side. I'm going to let Doug Edge is here to visit with us, and we're going to let him do a little commentary on this buck.
Yeah, appreciate it, Dan. Tad, this pretty excited. The Hobbs buck, Jordan, worked really well for us at Edge Livestock this year, and we're pretty excited about this buck lamb. He's a fall-born, so we don't have semen on him yet. We're going to have him here at RSG to collect next week. We're going to hopefully get some semen production out of him. And really goes back, I don't know if those of you guys remember Harper Henny a few years ago, showed some really good sheep at the Indiana State Fair. And that natty wether that she had a few years ago is in his bloodline. We go back to his grandma. So he's got some champion genetics in him already. And I think that Hobbs Jordan buck really did the trick for us. So we're excited if you're trying to produce some natties. He's got a double shot of those black genetics in him. Should produce some pretty dark ones, I think. And he's FF.
Well, we got to talking about that Harper Henny sheep here a while back. I thought that one won the state fair. I mean, he did in my mind, I guess, there, and that was what I had thought.
On the circuit there, did really well. Had a good run throughout the season for her. And so, we're pretty proud of him, and I hope those of you can get some semen put up. We'll feature him in the online catalog on RSG here and hopefully in a few weeks.
I think you need to study up on that, guy. Some of these lambs, they can get a little jammed up on us, and this one is tall-fronted. He's got that extra extension to him that can help a lot of us on making them wethers that are going to be those elite ones that can go out in the show ring and dominate the show ring. If you study this guy, he balances up good through his front end. He's good down his top line. Guys, it takes a sheep that'll get up and grow for you. This one is not one of those little ones that won't grow for you. He's not one of those exotic ones either. That one's right in his skeletal size, and I think he's got a lot to play in this game.
I'll leave you with this, guys. The semen, we're not big breeders by no means, big names and producing buck lambs, and we're going to make this guy very affordable for anybody to latch on to at $150 when we do get that semen put up. So should be a nice price point for some folks to start LAIing. Thanks.
Thank you. The next buck we have that comes to the ring the show pen is a buck called Jagger. He's a crossbred. He's an RRFD buck. He is owned by Birch Livestock and Nathan Club Lambs. He's sired by Blindside. He's dammed by Cinderella, which is a collusion rain man. This guy is a maternal brother to the Ceasefire buck. and I'm going to get a yes or no shake of the head here. He is a full brother to the the lamb that Colin Dino sold at the block sale that was a high seller. Oh, he is the sire. I'm sorry, I was a little confused on that. That's why. He's the sire of the high seller of the block sale that was prior this spring. Guys, study up on this one. This is one that you can put some extra power and some mass in him. Even at the side view profile, you can study this guy and you can see the rack shape of him as he comes right behind his neck. And he comes into just an enormous, square, thick hip in him, and he's wide from stifle to stifle. If you guys need to power him up muscle-wise and you need to make them more athletic in their muscle, this is one you need to take an opportunity to look at. I'm going to let Tad say a little bit about him.
Yeah, so, in the business we're in, we had the great opportunity to see this sheep as a baby lamb out at Colby's when we were out there doing work. And I loved him then, loved him loose in the pen, and I still love him today. And, when you talk about big pieces, you talk about big parts, that when we're breeding, we're all breeding for the elite ones. We're breeding for the ones that are unique and out there in so many different places. And I think if you go back and you study this guy's lamb picture and you look at what he was when he was a young sheep, and then you come and you see him here today and you look at his hip, you look at his pelvic structure, you look at the turn of his butt, and you look at that hip-loin junction and the loin edge that comes with that. That is an impressive piece, and he's still awfully good in his front one-third. He's not jacked up long neck, but when you look back at that baby picture, you see what he was, jacked up long necked and white featured. He's white-headed. I think this is one that brings an awful lot to the table, and I'm a little different probably because my dad was a cattle guy when I was a kid growing up, and he taught me an awful lot about the female lines and what the female side of a pedigree brings to the table. And this is one that if anybody's studying pedigrees and studying what's going on in the industry, you look at that Cinderella donor and you look at what that ewe has repeatedly done time and time again. I think that adds immense value to this guy, because there's predictability in that, there's repeatability in that, and when you see the big parts and the big pieces in this guy, along with the repeatability and predictability of the female side of it, I think if that's the parts and pieces you need, you gotta pay attention to this guy. He's awfully unique.
He's got the track record, doesn't he? At the maturity, and as much as we put into this, just our heart and souls into this program, it's nice to get a hold of one that's got some proven track record after him, and that's what guy does.
Guarantee my kids will drive some Jaggers next year. So.
Our next one to the ring the show pen is Killed Confirmed. He's a crossbred. He's RRNNFF from Urban Livestock and Cheney Brothers. He is sired by Ceasefire on the dam side. He's a unicorn at night and zoo creature. This guy has got an awesome look through his front one-third of his body. He's a young buck, and if you study him, he has got just a fantastic look to him. Tall-fronted, really good on his feet and legs. I love how he lays his blade into his shoulder and just how he comes through the front two-thirds of his body. We do have that guest speaker back, Timmy Hubbard. He's going to give us a little commentary on this guy.
It's kind of cool. What I think is we've had back-to-back tremendous ewe families. So Cinderella and Jagger was in what I consider top 5 ewe families in America, but this ewe family, along with that from Donnie B, is also one of the top 5 ewe families in America. If you guys don't know, it's a unicorn ignite zoo creature. That same ewe family just sired the mythical that was championing Exarban for Tyson's. That was, if I remember correctly, Show Lamb of the Year this last year. And so, without question, easily probably one of the more predictable ewe lines in the country is what this sheep sired by. But on top of that, you also get Cinderella with it with Ceasefire. I think with that, this is an FF buck. And I think if you turn him forward, give us the front shot. This is not something that people look at very much anymore, but who can remember an FF buck that's got that kind of width of chest, forearm shape, and body shape? It's an impressive creature up front. It's hard to make them that way, coming at you, going away. We oftentimes forget about that viewpoint, but it's just as important when you're trying to make sheep better. That's an impressive FF buck that's got feature, width of chest, and still got density, but alongside that, backed by an incredible maternal ewe line.
And I think if you stand there and you look at that forearm, so when that sheep's on the front view and you look at that forearm, that predicts what you got muscle going down the back. So when you tie that in to that FF package, that's a very, very unique combination.
It's a heck of a sheep, man.
It is, and you are exactly right. We need to look at him coming and going away from us, and that one coming at you, he's a unique one, especially when you look at him from the side, how shallow he is, and then he opens up in his heart like he does.
Yeah, those goat guys, they haven't forgotten front views matter. As sheep guys, maybe sometimes we forget that. So.
There's a nice young buck there, guys. Take an opportunity to get a really good one out of him. We're going to bring one of those registered sheep, a Dorper sheep to us from Lazy 5 Ranch. This is Lazy 5 Ranch 5365. This buck was the supreme champion at Keystone and the Big E. He was champion ram at Duncan as a lamb and as a yearling. And you go back to that Duncan show, that's our national show. That is one impressive show. Guys, look at the muscularity and mass on this one, and he brings all the bells and whistles to you. I'm going to let Tad talk a little bit about those.
Yeah, the Dorper breed, white Dorper breed, has been one of my favorites to be a part of, and there's so many solid production traits, animal traits that come with the South African based type of Dorpers, and while it's maybe not the trend that that we're getting back, he actually could go do some good at the Indiana State Fair, but in the Dorper breed, you start looking at that kind of piece of it. He's not necessarily the show weather sheep that we're talking about, but I think the thing that you have to remember on these Dorpers, and we're going to look at a white one here in a minute, is they have some characteristics. If you really need to reach out, go online, go to the Dorper Breed Association and read their breed characteristics, their traits, what they're looking for in that breed. I think it's an important thing that we need to think about from standards. And it talks about functional efficiency, structural soundness, masculinity of rams, femininity of ewes, and muscling. And when you look at this kind of a sheep, he's pretty dang good, guys. And when you talk about it in the Dorper breed as a purebred Dorper, a registered Dorper, he's awfully good. And what that crew is doing at the Lazy 5 Ranch, if you haven't taken time to learn about the Lazy 5, you need to. They do some amazing things. Some of the best stockmen in the country are at that ranch. So get an opportunity, look them up, figure out what's going on there. This sheep is an individual. If you're into registered Dorpers, you need to pay special attention to him. He is, like Dan said, was the supreme ram. Pay special attention to this guy.
Yeah, those are the fun ones, the ones that are that can make it in both sides of this world, and there's not too many of these sheep that can go both sides of the world. That one will be a good production sheep, and he is one that he's got the pedigree for the show ring, and he's made his mark in both sides. That's a good Dorper buck there to take the opportunity to breed to. We're going to bring the white one that they have also, and I think he brings a lot of the same unique traits. The next buck we have coming into the picture pin is the Lazy 5 Ranch 5996. He's a registered white Dorper. This guy was the supreme ram at the North American International Livestock Exposition. He was champion white Dorper and supreme buck at Fort Worth. Guys, this is one that had Timmy Leonard in here on a buck a few minutes ago. If you watch this one coming at you and going away from you, he's wide-chested, he's wide-based, he's wide in the center portion of his body, and he brings that curvature and athletic look and that muscularity.
Yeah, that's the fun part of this Dorper breed. And take these guys, they're so athletic, they're so stout, so functional, and this is one that definitely pulls all that together. And it's not just our opinion on it here today between what Dan and I are seeing. It's what he's done at the North American. It's what he's done in Fort Worth. And if you're in the white Dorper business, this guy you need to tie into him.
Take the opportunity, guys. There's one that good rib, good bodied, functional, that sound. One of those elite white Dorpers there. The next buck we bring to the show pen is a buck called Like and Subscribe. He's a crossbred buck. He is RRNNFD. He comes from Johnson Family Show Stock. He is sired by Sweet Relief, which is a DTM Docks buck. He's out of a dam from Making Waves, straight out of Compton. And if you start studying the pedigree on this guy, he goes back to Drop the Mic. He goes back to a lot of that great genetics. Man, look at a mature buck there that's got some length and extension. Like I said, guys, we got to keep those sheep up and tall-fronted. This is a tall-fronted one that lays good into his blade. He's muscular down his top, comes into a big hip, and then you study him all the way from the ground up. That's a big-footed guy that's good on his feet and legs. A lot of pattern and design to him. What do you got something that you can add to him, Tad?
Yeah, the other thing of it is we're sitting here looking at him. He's on the click to claim tonight. He's at 125 as a price point. That's an awfully good sheep for 125 if you're looking for things in your pedigree. Most of these sheep have some Drop the Mic in them. If you see the Sweet Relief ram, that's an awfully good one. So you got Sweet Relief and Doc on that sire side and straight out of Compton. Awful lot of combinations in there that in most of these pedigrees that we're seeing today, this guy should tie into those pedigrees and work awfully well. So don't miss on this guy.
I tell you, if you got some ewes that have that need a little extra shot of just look and design to them, and then not lose any power, this guy will bring it to the table. A lot of good things about him. The next buck we bring to the picture pin is the Making Amigos. This one is owned by Sloan Club Lambs and housed at Urban Sires. This guy is a Trace Amigos Making Waves. And again, we've got our guest speaker here, Timmy Hubbard, and we're going to let him make a little commentary on
Well, I know Jim Sloan wanted to be here, but bass season is coming up, so he's busy making fishing lures, so he regrets not being able to make it. But I think this buck's pretty good. Trace Amigos is obviously needs no introduction. He's about to be the hottest buck in America, and there's no question about it. But the neat thing about this buck is Trace Amigos, a tremendous sheep. He is FD, and this sheep's FF. So the people out there that need a Trace Amigos son to bring about the extra look and feature and presence that Trace obviously stamps consistently, this sheep's able to do that in an FF package, and he's backed by a tremendous maternal line that oftentimes I've talked about when I've grabbed the mic. Making waves on drop kick you. That drop kick you, drop kick was actually a full brother to Grinch's mom. And so obviously backed by a tremendous pedigree on both sides. This sheep's incredibly high quality, make them taller fronted, better featured, and cooler looking with a really, really unique side view stifer shape. I think that buck's definitely the ticket. Jim Sloan and Andy Sloan brought us a real good one here.
I tell you what I like about him. I mean, and I don't talk too much about this, but the white feature and just the white legs that guy has, he is a big-legged dude. And if you look at him and study his foot size, he's not only just that fluffy big leg, he's got that big foot to him. And I like how he stands up on his pasterns, and he's really correct in terms of his feet and legs. And you just kind of study his design. That one's really complete.
And when you sit there and you look at that wool from the tip of the toes to the tip of the ear, there's a lot of options in that. And just sitting here looking at this, guys, looks like we got some fresh options for him this summer as well. So we're $250 a unit on the frozen. It looks like you guys got some fresh options getting ready to ship out as well.
Our next buck coming to the ring is a buck called Making Bank. He's a registered Southdown. He is owned by Ellabrock Club Lambs and Silver Dollar Farms. This guy is bleeds RRFFEDF. He is sired by Ocean Eyes, and on the dam side, help me out here a little, Tad, on this dam side on what he is.
Yeah, so that's a Lanny Bowman ewe that was out of Mordu. That ewe has been the heart and soul of the Ellabrock Club Lambs, Cole and Brad's Southdown program, and so we flushed that donor an awful lot. There's never been a miss on any of those pedigrees, and I know, honestly, maybe I shouldn't talk this one because I may be a little shot partial to him, but he's done an awful good job. This is going into his third season of babies. And so,
well, I don't want you to be too bashful on this one because I've heard a lot about this buck, and my son's actually, I believe, bred to this buck. This one has sired a bunch of South Downs that have done very well. And it's just like that deal. They come in here and you look at these proven sires. He is one of those that he's early in his days. This guy's going to have an influence on this South Down weather program for a long time. So I'm not going to be bashful about talking about him. You guys need to look at the power and the mass that one has, the big hip that he has, the way he balances up. His offspring have done very well. And I don't think that – I think we got to beat the drum on him about what he has done for the South Down program.
For sure. And, guys, go ahead and turn him towards the camera and let's see his front end and his head there while you got him. Yep, so we got good breed character. He's good-chested. Just want everybody to see that as an opportunity as well. So this is one that we've seen an awful lot of nice ones on.
He's in the click to claim today too, and he's at a discounted price. And only today is he at a discounted price, guys. If you're wanting an opportunity to breed to a South Down that is proven, that is going, you know what you're going to get. You need to take the opportunity to grab a hold of some of that this evening. The next buck we bring to the ring is a buck called Members Only. He's a crossbred buck, and he bleeds RRNNFF. He is owned by Urban Livestock and Johnson Club Lambs. This one is a Tres Amigos that is dammed by a Unicorn Gas Monkey Stud Duck dam. Guys, we had the opportunity to sell a bunch of these wethers out of this flush for Brian this year, and man, they were a big hit. It was a late night of guys bidding on these sheep. This one comes out of an extremely good flush. I know he's young and he's youthful in his look, but guys, when you start studying the way he's put together and his design and the siblings that he has, they were peas in a pod. That they are long fronted, they're good fronted through their front end, they balance up on their feet and legs. I think Jim, I got a little joke here. Tim Leonard was out to dinner the other night, and the waiter named him Jimmy, so I keep getting hung up on Jimmy Hubbard today. But we got Timmy Hubbard. Hey, that was my name when I was young. Danny, I'll answer to that.
So Justin, I think the sheep. We talk about Brian's program, and I know it's good you brought up that flush, because I think that's important when you go into starting making breeding decisions. Is what did the siblings look like? And ultimately, there's going to be some high-end show wethers that win out of this flush, some of those FD males. This is an FF option, obviously out of Trace, about to be one of the hottest bucks in America, and it gives you some versatility in what you can do for maybe some of those smaller breeders that don't have as many ewes and can't suffer through the dwarfs. I think the sheep's extremely high-end. He's backed by a tremendous Johnson ewe family with the Unicorn Gas Monkey and Stud Duck. Obviously, none of those bucks need introductions. He's got winners all throughout his pedigree. That's a good-looking, tall-fronted Trace son that comes in an FF package with a tremendous sire group backed behind him of sheep that are going to win major stock shows going into the fall.
Yeah, and you talk about those big shows and going to and as we feed these a little longer, the thing that I think's unique about these Tres Amigos is when you get through the front two-thirds of their body and the way they tie their front ends together and the way they lay their blade into them. It's important to keep that fresh and youthful look to them, and I think that's one that's going to do that. And then you can take that one and make a program and come back on some of those ewes that need some help there.
Especially with the Johnson ewe line going back into it, I think guys can certainly rest assured that sheep's going to generate just like everything from Brian's has in the past. So,
yep.
So he's offering frozen at $250 a unit, and he's also offering some fresh options with the half jump at $4,000. And then a full jump at $7,500. So look at here, excellent sheep.
I can't wait to see that one a year from now. That one's going to be a good-looking dude. The next buck we bring to the picture pin is a buck called My Town. He's RRFD. He's owned by the Lynch family livestock. This one was raised by Carr Club Lambs. He's sired by Big City and dammed by Hazel. We sold a good set of sheep for cars this spring out of this buck, and I mean, we sold the heck out of them. The buck sired a tremendous set of lambs and did a lot of good things. He made those sheep really expressive and athletic in their muscularity. They're big, square hip. They're explosive down their top. Guys, if you study this when he's big from the ground up in terms of his bone work, he's one of those fuzzy-looking ones. And he is sired by one of the first buck we brought through the ring. He's a big city son, and he brings a lot of those same traits that the big city does. This one's going to make some history as we go. He's another one of those mature bucks that brings the predictability to the table. That one's the one you need to look at.
Yeah, we also have the good fortune of working at cars and seeing that set of ewes and the sheep that they make out of there. And you see these the My Town sheep that are out there. It's proven an amazing set. Anytime you can throw a fat patty in on the pedigree of the ewe family, I think you got to pay attention to that one. I think that it goes back to what we talked about earlier, Dan, with Big City and the impact that sheep's had on the industry. You see what that has done. You see what this guy's done. You can't hardly go wrong here, guys.
A proven buck with a great genetic history. I'd take the opportunity. I'd study up on this guy if I was interested and put some muscle in some sheep. The next lamb that comes to the ring is a buck called Nacho. He's a registered Southdown. He bleeds QRNNFF He's owned by Flanagan, Stoltz, Southdowns, and Silver Dollar Farms. This guy is sired by Flanagan 20,066. He's which is a Cool Hand Luke, and dammed by Flanagan 5028. Guys, this one brings some of those great genetics: Robertson, Jennings, Brenham, and Meisenmeyer. Guys, this one has got some fantastic genetics behind him and a great pedigree, and you study him and the balance down his top, the way he's constructed off of his rear leg and hip. I'm going to let Tad talk a little more about him since they are part owner in this guy.
Yeah, this was a guy that we thought was a very unique opportunity to get a hold of, and so he is the direction that we are taking the Make and Bank daughters, and so not to let too much into our breeding ideas or program, but he follows up in that quite well. When you look at the pedigree, that says all that it needs to say about the genetic package. If anybody follows anything going on in Texas, and you look at what the Flanagan-Stoltz combination of genetics is doing down there in the Texas majors, it's a proven program. That program has been around a very, very long time. Scott Flanagan and his family have been raising Southdowns and a part of that breeding association a very, very long time. And so it's pretty unique to have this kind of a caliber of Southdown in the Midwest and the availability of them. And when you actually talk about hard touch, true muscle, there's an awful good one there. He's tucked up in his chest floor, good swoop to his belly. And then, guys, let's just turn him. Let's do the same thing on him. Let's turn him to his front end and look at that and his breed type. It's perfect. Is what his breed type is. I just saw it perfect.
I tell you, the chance to breed to that legendary genetic line, those legendary genetic lines, I think there's a great opportunity with this guy. Predictability, another mature buck that's proven in what he can do.
And he's discounted on the click to claim, so if you like what you're seeing, get on there and go ahead and get it bought before the sale's over.
The next buck we bring to the ring is a buck called New Era. He's a registered Dorset Advantage. He bleeds QRFF. He comes from Stillwell Club Lambs and Silver Dollar Farms. This buck is sired by Crossbones and Stillwell 2110. This is one of the first bucks I saw when I came in here. They actually were just walking him up the ramp, and I was like, oh my gosh, what is this guy? You look at him, and you could paint a black face on him and black legs on him, and this one's going to be competitive in any division you put him in. That is one tall-fronted dude, and he's unique when he brings what the characteristics to this white program to you. Guys, he is awesome on his feet and legs. He's awesome in terms of the way he blends down his middle. And just the way he puts it together down his top line, he's constructed tremendously good and out of his hip. He's a very unique white specimen. I didn't know that you guys owned half of him. You guys, I don't know what you got him bought for, but I did all right on it.
Yeah, Jason and his family are essentially neighbors here, and so we talk quite a bit. And when we were in the conversation about this one, it was kind of a no-brainer. I mean, when you get your hands on him, and his touch and muscle texture is, like you said, that as good as any of the black face sheep out there. Yeah, I think you might have been selling a few of his babies here earlier this year, weren't you?
Oh yeah, they actually, we were privileged to have a few of them at Midwest Elite, and I think there were 3 breed champions in that whiteface division that come out of him, and several that did very well. The Supreme Ram actually come out of this buck. Guys, this one is unique. I'm telling you, and when I came in, it was one of those things. I didn't know who was standing there with him and what it was. That is one unique creature, and if you get an opportunity, he's standing here all summer, isn't he?
He is standing here all summer. He is available fresh and frozen, so he can work in a lot of different directions. We bred one blackface ewe to him last year personally. Had a pair of spec weathers that sold to one of the major feeders in the country, and so it was like, wow, we need to probably do that more.
I'm surprised somebody didn't try to talk them out of banning him last spring and trying to win a major show with him. If you guys have the opportunity, you need to come look at him and take an opportunity to breed to him. He will work a lot of ways in these white programs of making really good show sheep.
Yeah, he's on the Click to Claim today as a discount as well, so don't miss that opportunity.
The next one we bring to the show pen is a buck called Papa Squat. He is a RRNNFD. He's owned by AGP Clubland and Genetics, Bagwell Sister Showstock. He is a Break the Bank, which is a Break the Internet son. He's out of a Shameless Hell on Wheels dam. This guy is one. He's a mature buck and one that. He's only a yearling. He's a yearling buck, but that is a big-footed, big woolly-legged one. I was standing back at the pens, and somebody said something about making my booty tickle or something like that. I forget what that was said, but they were very attracted to that one.
It wasn't Carol, was it?
No,
just checking.
I hope not.
Just checking.
Might have been.
Yeah, this guy, I think that's a very unique genetic piece. So as we're looking at what's rolling around in the industry right now, this is a guy that's got some other different genetics that could work in a lot of different programs. So when you go back to Break the Internet sheep and Break the Bank, and I think if your genetics tie into that, we always believe in breeding that to, if one piece of the pedigree can match up with the sire you select, and you're going to increase your predictability. So don't forget on this guy, he's still jacked up in his front end and big old hips. So he's an awful nice sheep.
Good sheep. Take the opportunity to breed one that's really stout bone and stout body. Shag for days.
Okay, that might be the biggest leg we've had all day.
The next buck we bring to the picture pen is a buck called Razzle Dazzle. He bleeds RRFD, Birch Livestock, and Cabe period on this buck. He is a goose, sired by goose, and dammed by a truce dam. This one is one that Colby actually sold half interest in December for, and that buck brought $90,000 in his sale. He is a cool-fronted, really shallow-chested one. If you study the front one-third of that guy, he lays his blade in good to him. He's got some flexibility off of his front knee, one that's very unique up to the front one-third of his body, and then comes into a big hip and balances in his midline real nice for us. Do you have anything to add on him, Tad?
Yeah, I think that's, again, back to the genetics and the pedigrees on how that ties in. And you look at what Truce is going to come through here in a little bit, and you look at what that sheep has done and impacted in the industry. So there's an awful lot of predictability in that one. Just an awfully good sheep.
that truce has made a lot of good sheep, and some of the sons have been just very unique in what they've done on passing some of those genetics through, and I think this is one that might give us that opportunity on that.
Absolutely balances up. He is going to produce some true natural hard muscle.
Take an opportunity to get one there that's got some proven genetics behind it. Our next sire that comes to ring is a goat named Reride. This one's a crossbred, and this goat comes from Stephen Oshler. He is sired by Bowdown, which is a hidden treasure 81 doe, and then is dammed by a Sturts Onward dam.
Yeah, I think that's one of those things where when you start looking at that in the club goat world, there's some really unique pieces here. So this guy's going to have an awful lot of extension. You can see how long that neck is. It's coming right up out of the top of the shoulder, and he's still got some nice curvature to that hind leg. So when you start thinking about this guy from a combination of extension and muscle, this is one we do not want to miss on. And if you follow that back through the pedigree and predictability, I think he'll be awfully good. He will stand here this summer as part of the RSG Sires group. He'll be available at any breed day for $300 a unit. So make sure you kind of pay attention here if you're breeding for boar goats and you're wanting to get competitive in the show ring. I think this is one that's going to have that look and design to him.
Well, and just studying him, he gives you one of those unique looks to him, that exotic. We don't talk a lot about this on the goat side of it, but man, how exotic he is through the length and tall frontedness up through his front end. I really like how long-necked and tall-fronted that guy is.
Yeah, an awfully nice buck.
Our next buck that comes to the ring is a buck called Surprises. He's a QRFD buck. He is owned by Urban Livestock, Hubbard Club Lambs, and he is sired by Ceasefire and Saban's mom. I've got Tim Leonard here. He's going to add a little commentary, and I got your name right, finally getting that corrected today. But this is one that Tim, I think, is really proud of. He is stout-boned. He's big top, rugged made. One that's really nice constructed out of his hip. I'm going to let Tim kind of expand on his thoughts.
We're pretty, obviously I raised this buck. He's end of October, and we're pretty proud of him. We purchased Saban's mom for $42,000, the Bluegrass Babes, 2 years ago, and she's a drop to my Cow Palace, 8176 from Neff Livestock. That same ewe family, along with Saban, obviously, is the grandmother of Making Waves that Alan Newcomb owned, and obviously he needs no introduction. Along with that, 8176 is the grandmother of the Reserve at Louisville in 2022, and then Golden Palomino that's currently standing at Neff's. And then along with that, the Schmilling girl showed the female of the year, which should have been out of Saban's sister, which obviously goes back to 8176. If you're talking about just ewe families, on both sides of the pedigree, this sheep is not only backed by Cinderella on the top side for Ceasefire, but with Saban's mom, 8176 from Neff's on the bottom side. We're pretty excited about this sheep. I think he does a lot of unique things, definitely in an age where we talk about feature and bone and foot size. That sheep does that, but I think along with his sire group, that sheep's got stoutness, he's got density, got rib, width, muscle, shape, all those things. I think that sheep's a unique sheep that we're certainly both going to utilize very heavily in our programs. Not to mention he's backed by what I consider two of the best ewe families on both sides of this pedigree in the country. So,
well, that's a good sheep with a lot of muscularity to him, a lot of balance to him. Go ahead, Ted. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I think there's not much else to say other than just to echo that ewe family piece. That's two of the best ewe families we've seen impact in the industry lately.
There's an opportunity, guys, there for a young buck to get on the front end of him. That one's one that you need to look for if you want to put some stoutness and some muscularity to him and then still have that look. Awfully good option. The next buck we bring to the picture pen is a buck called Switchblade Sam. He's a crossbred. He's RRFF. He comes from Hild Brothers. He's sired by Ride Time and Freestyle. This is one, as I walk through the pens today, he's a little unique and he's a little out there. And, when we're making show lambs, we've got to make moves on where we're going on certain things and put things together. This one is unique in terms of having that extra length and extension to him. He is a tall-fronted, good-looking dude, got that extra length hip to him, and he's still good on his feet and legs. If you got some ewes you need to put some size to and you need to lift them up a little bit, this is one you need to look at. Tim, are you giving us some commentary? Okay. I'm going to turn you over to Tad here and let Tad talk a little bit about this guy.
Yeah, I think if you study the write-ups and think about what this says, if the number one guy at Hill Brothers is Garth, this is one of Garth's favorites, so that's going to say an awful lot to the breeding value of this guy. In talking with Charlie about that as well, so this is an ideal sheep to take to some of those tighter, heavier muscle, stouter, maybe even some kind of tighter spine type of ewes. So if you're going to look for adding some length, extension, still got good leg shape, huge legs, wool, I think this is the kind you need to think about taking him to. So don't miss out on the opportunity on this guy. He's sitting in there at $250 per dose, and he's on the catalog.
And the thing about it that really stands out to me is that ride time and freestyle. There's a lot of genetic value in that one too, along with that good look to him. That's a good one to bring to the picture pen, guys. You need to study up on him. As if those are the pieces you need to buy some semen on this guy and put it to use for you. The next buck we bring to the picture pen is a buck called Switching Gears. He's a crossbred. He's RRFD. He's owned by Urban Livestock. He's sired by Tres Amigos and goes back to Say When. And there's another pedigree there that I think you need to stand up and pay attention. This is Tres Amigos, one of the up-and-coming bucks into the program. But Say When, he is really a benchmark in this also and has set his mark. This one's got some unique pedigree to him. I'm going to let Tim Hebert take off and talk on this one a little bit. I might get hung here if I keep making these mistakes before I get out of the ring. But
it's all good, John. Danny,
Tim's got some good insight for us here.
So I first saw this sheep when Cam, he actually came by the house to look at the late-borns, and he hopped him off. He said, I got a Tres Amigos son you got to see. And I tell you, I was as blown away by this sheep for what he does, the intangibles he brings to the table, as any sheep I had seen out of that sire group across the country. That is a shallow, good-looking, tall-fronted one. That I think's impressive because if you spun that sheep around, spin him around, Cam, that sheep's got, spin him around backside. Give us a rear view. That sheep's got some horsepower. That's a good rib, big-chested one that's big-pinned and big-stifled. I like the fact the drop to his lower stifle and the way it turns is very impressive, along with the fact he's got all the white feature, got all the bone, foot size, look at his head, look at his skull. That sheep's an awfully good one. Cam's pretty excited about this one. He's been fired up. We're going to use him in our program. His maternal line, specifically, as you draw back further, Say When obviously needs no introduction from a female standpoint. But along with that, he's a strictly business ruckus on the backside. I know for a fact the people that know that U-line say that's one of the more impressive Say When ewes in America. Cam's got a real good one here, and I think that's a unique sheep that guys need to use.
If that one's out of one of the most impressive Say When females in America, you need to stand up and take notice of that. That Say When had a lot of influence. There are a lot of good things I liked about that one, and he brings that unique look to him, and he's got that white feature to him and those big bushy legs. But along with that, though, we strip those legs off. That is a correct made, good-legged one too. Take an opportunity on a good young sire there if those are the pieces you need. The next one that comes to the ring is a buck called Thank Me Later. He's a crossbred. He bleeds RRFF. He's owned by Birch Livestock and Hoeing Hill. He's out of a buck called Cocky Rocky and is dammed by the Blue Light Unicorn Dam. And if you go back we talk about the Blue Light, that is the sire of the big city buck, and a lot of unique things about him. The Cocky Rocky's a berry buck. Guys, for a blue one, you need to study up here. It's hard to find those big, stout bone ones, those big hipped ones. That one's stout from the ground up, and you get in front of him, but behind him, he's wide made. He's wide at his base. He's wide from stifle to stifle. that's a big-bodied, stout-made blue one.
Yeah, you get your hands on him, and it's pretty impressive that rib and rack shape when you get your hands on him, get right over the top of him, and I think that's a huge asset for that sheep, and super woolly, super big leg, and I mean he's one of those that's woolly from his tip of his toes to his tip of his ears, and so that one's got a lot of show ring value and a lot of show ring presence that you need to take attention to.
He is FF. Hey, and you go back to he's got some of the great lines in this Club Lamb deal. You go back to that blue light and that unicorn on the dam side. You know, we always look at that sire side, but if we go back on the dam side, that one brings some pretty valuable genetics to us too when we're looking at our breeding program. There's a chance on a good blue one, guys. I'd take an opportunity with him.
Pay attention.
The next buck we bring to the ring is the OG. This one's RRFF. He's owned by Johnson Family, Showstock, Car Club Lambs, Mite Family Genetics. He's out of a buck called Big Shitty. He goes back to My Town's Dam. And guys, if you study that up, that goes back to a lot of our big city genetics. And the one that really started the program that we're talking about tonight, Big Shitty and My Town. And then you go back in further into his pedigree. That one's got Return Johnny's sister in his pedigree, Unicorn, Crinkle. It goes back to Happy Days, Fat Patty. The donor sired the grand champion at the Texas State Fair. This is one that's got that unique look to him. He's got that extra length and extension through his front end, length of body. He's a good-sized buck that's good on his feet and legs, got a unique presence to him when you look at him in person. Tad, can you add a little more for us there on that guy?
I think it goes back, and you hit on it there a second ago. You think about Hazel and the impact that U family's had on things, and this makes him part of truly the OG of things. And when you see that outline and silhouette in that sheep, he runs uphill, and his lines are good. He's straight in his spine, he's straight down his back, and he's still got good turn to that leg. So I think that's another one of those proven sires that we know how to breed them, we know how to use them. Don't miss that one if you're looking for a proven blue one.
Well, if you want the original gangster, that one might be the mobster there to take on to get those genetics that have been very valuable in the whole program. I mean, it's just unique to have that many different types of pedigrees that line up into one. And I know that Johnson Family and Cars and Mites are not going to hold on to one unless they think he's got some genetic value. That one's pretty nice.
He's on the click-to-claim sale, so if that's the one that's of interest to you, jump on there and make your purchase.
Well, Tad, it's been a great preview, and what a way to end it. We've come into a great facility, and I do want to stress, guys, this is a program here with RSG. You need to come out and just visit with them and come out and see what they have to offer. One of the original programs on our AI and our flush in the sheep industry. Take the opportunity to come out and visit with them. Take the opportunity to see what the program's about. They can help you out into your genetic program. They can help you out in your vet program. We're coming to the last buck today, a buck called Truce. Guys, this one is one that if you've been in the club lamb business and you don't know what this one is, you probably better study up a little bit. He's one that's done a lot of good things in the last 2 or 3 years. He's unique in what he does. That one is muscular down his top. He's big and square out of his hip. He's big in his bone work. I've seen this one work on a lot of different ewes. You can put him on those ewes that are a little more extended and give him just that extra shot of power. He will not lose look. He will not lose muscularity. That one's got some unique pieces to him. One that is proven. One, you're not gambling when you go in there. We're not gambling when we put the semen in him. You know you're going to get some results. I'm going to let Tad wind her up here and tell you what it's all about. Thank you for having us out here today, too.
Yes, Dan, thanks for being here. Thanks for being a good neighbor and joining us on this and participating. And it's been an honor over the years to be able to provide the services to the industry and to these sires. And so, we're starting a new chapter of the business and life, and with the opening of this Sire Center. And it was interesting, man, to send me a video after the Rams were moved out of the old wing, and that's how many great sires have been through the old wing of the building. And so back when we had Drop the Mic came through at one point. We had Bombshell's been through before. Bullseye and some of those old studs that were just impactful in the industry. And so it was a bittersweet moment to move them out, but when you bring them in here and you look at the building and you look at how comfortable these sheep are, it's awful sweet. And so we really appreciate the loyalty that Shorter Show Stock has been to the development of our business over the years. He is the breeder on this sire of Truce. He sold half interest to the Beatty Club Lambs, and they've been doing a great job marketing from there. And so it's been an honor to be in the industry where we've been and do the things that we've done. And it's actually ironically fitting that we're ending with Truce, to be honest with you, because that's a sheep that represents two of the great programs in our industry. John has been with me since nearly day one in that process, and so and we did this on alphabetical order, so it wasn't any, and it was fortuitous. It was fate. It was fate. It was fortuitous. That was just the way it was supposed to be. So, we don't really need to talk much about this sheep. Everybody should know where he's been and what he's doing, and we're really excited that he actually is going to get to stand here this summer as an RSG sire. And so, as the opportunities come through to breed here, he is here to be available for you. And then also, I kind of hate to say it, but if you get into a backup situation during the summer and you need something while you're breeding here at our center, this guy's available too. So he's not a backup ram, but he'll be here for a lot of those scenarios. And pedigrees, obviously a great one. And so it's been a pleasure, guys. Thanks to the ring crew for keeping us moving through the day. We've had a phenomenal staff that's put the event together, and thanks to Willoughby Sales for joining us today.